Hello! Today I have a project that I've been wanting to do for a while. Not long ago, my dad and I were re-leveling our deck back here, and we used some 2x8 beams, and we laminated 3 together to give it that strength and stability. It's a long deck, so there was quite a bit of excess of that post that was left over, and it was sitting around. So my idea is to make a Civic post, a nice decorative Civic post for the edge of my driveway, because as it is right now, it's pretty hard to see my Civic number from the road until you're past my driveway, then you can see it. So I'm going to show you guys the beam that we have left over. It's about 4 feet long, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to notch out these edge pieces so that it will be able to fit into this little fence stake, the fence post stake in the ground, just to give it some stability. So what I'm going to do here, I have my 4x4 fence post bracket, and in order to have my laminated beam fit in this, I need to cut it down to size. So I'm going to be measuring here. I did the first one on this side first. All I did was I took the bracket and I measured it with the bracket, and I used just a pencil mark to mark where I'm going to be cutting. I'm going to be notching out this, and then some extra bit on the front half. So I'm just going to mark it here on the bottom side, which will allow me to see when I flip it over where my line is a little bit. Just a rough marking there. And I'm just going to use this as a ruler straight edge for myself. Oop. There. Now I can flip it over so I can mark the other side. And I'm going to use my bottom marks as my guideline. So all I'm going to be doing is same thing. I'm going to be marking where this laminated beam of my 2x8s will be notched out and fitting for my 4x4. I'm making basically a 4x4 post. Like that. So I want to bring attention to measurements here. We wanted to make sure that we were measuring the exact measurements for the notch that I'm going to be creating to go inside. So we measured, and it is exactly 2 inches. It just happens to be on both sides. So my handy dandy leveling tool here is true to its name, and it levels and makes good straight lines. It is exactly 2 inches. So we have that, and we measured, and we made our measurement lines very precise, so that we want, when this goes in here, we want it to be nice and centered and straight. So it's important to show that I used the 2-inch square tool to make my marks all the way around. And I'm just going to flip it here to show you the other side. And use my 2-inch square here. Granddad playing with granddaughter. There we are. So we had the 2-inch line we drew there, and we made sure that it was 2 inches square on each side, and that's where the post is going to be, right from that line. So I'm going to be using the skill saw to notch that out. So I'm going to use my safety glasses, because it's always to be good to protect your eyes. You only got one set. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using the skill saw to follow along my 2-inch lines, and I'm well aware that this blade is not going to cut through the whole laminated beam. So I'm gonna just do this side and here on both edges, and then I'm gonna flip it. So now I have my T-shaped laminated beam, preparing it to go inside my fence post. What I need to do now is just make it the right width, because right now it's just a rectangle. It needs to be cut so it can fit. So I'm going to be taking off the top notch here, being careful about the screw that I have in my laminated beam. I'm going to be cutting carefully around that. So the easiest thing for me to do safely is just to remove this screw, and then I can re-screw it after I take out the notch that I need. So I'm going to do that right now. So what I'm doing here in the last little stage of cutting is I'm notching out the rest of the width of the laminated beam so that it will fit in like a square in my post. So I'm just getting the last of this cut. There she has it. As we see here now, I've made all of my cuts and notching out what I need so that hopefully it will fit on my green bracket. Let's give it a try. Look at that. And all I'm going to need to do is tighten these up so it'll clamp onto that very snug and hold it very well. Then I'll be able to do my detail work. So because we took off the top notch here to allow for our laminated beams to fit into our fence post holder, I needed to shave off the top. But I want to screw this back together a little bit better because I did take one of the screws out from here. So I'm going to put some screws back in and then we'll keep going. Seems as though my drill is starting to die. See if I can get 2 more in. Come on! Oh, there we got 2 in. Let's see if we can get 1 more in. What do you think, Maeve?
Good.
Think we'll be able to get 1 more in?
Yep.
With the little battery that we got?
Yep.
You can do it, drill. You can do it, drill. Go, go, go. We got it. There you go. We got the last screw in. Okay, so we secured the tab there. Are my 3 screws, and just in time before my drill died. Thanks for your clever camera skills there, Maeve. And now we're going to be able to stick the post in there. But I want to kind of weather protect this because this is going to be in here and it's the smallest part of the beam, so I want to really protect it against the elements. I found this wooden shelf thing on the side of the road a couple months ago, and I just love wood, so I just grabbed it and I'm using it for, I wasn't sure what to use it for, like a platform for my garbage bins or a shelf or whatever, or for a planter to sit on, but it hasn't really been the right size to be very good for those things. So I'm going to rip it apart and use this wood to act as some trim for my Civic post. So that's my plan. I'm going to just recycle this wood that is from here. So I got one of the edges off and we're just going to hammer some of those nails that we see here. So what I'm doing is I'm using this screwdriver to separate the edge and just ripping it apart. Jackson, you want to stand on this board for me? Right there.
Right here?
Yep, thanks. Much better. So, for those of you who know me, or just getting to know me, I really like to recycle stuff. And, like, these were the nails that were used to help to hold that shelf together. And of course I needed to take it apart, but I'm going to reuse these. Like, they're perfectly good. A lot of them were a little bit bent, so I've just hammered them straighter, and I'm going to reuse them to reconnect them in a new way to my post.
Yeah.
So I'm just using the nails that I was using, that I ripped apart, and I'm just going to hammer them in my post. Basically using the same holes. Like so. And the plan is to flip it over, and I'm going to attach one on this side and one on the other side. Now I'm going to attach the second one here on the edge. Using my recycled nails. And right here on the edge. That one went right through the crack, so I might want to re-angle that one. There, nice and sturdy. Now I'm going to flip it over. Don't need that on there for now. And I'm going to do the same thing with my third one. I'm just doing an eyeball for measuring, making it straight. I'm not too picky. You can't be too picky. Just making sure when I tap it in that it's straight. There we go. And I have the perfect amount of nails. 2 for 2. And one more. In there. So now I have a nice little added decorative trim to my post. And I'm going to add some more near the top, I think. I'm still playing around with the idea. This is the finished product, so I want to explain this to you. These white bricks my dad got like about a decade ago from an old McDonald's, old McDonald's in town, and there was so many of them. He brought 2 or 3 trailer loads full, and they were just going to pitch these bricks. So he got them back. And I decided to use some of the remaining bricks and cement them together to be a good foundation for my Civic post. So here it is. In the previous video clip, you see like it was just a straight wooden board. I added these 3 pieces of trim, but I added spackling to fill in the cracks, and I painted it with a really hardy outside paint so that it would be weatherproofed. And I put it into a 3.5-foot fence post deep into the ground here. It's fall. I did not get to video this when I first put it in, but I have some pictures of it. So it's a little spider webby. But what I have on here is a little fence post solar light. So it lights up in the night, and then I have a little lawn spotlight too to shine right up onto the 3-3. So at night it's super, super bright. I love it so much. It's a statement now for my home. Now people are able to see what number my house is, whereas before that tree was blocking my number. So it doesn't show here because the fall has come, but I had some beautiful daylilies popping up almost all the way up to the 3, and I just love it so much. And I created this pretty much entirely out of garbage and recycled material. So it's really exciting to see what you can build and you can create from scraps of what was otherwise garbage. And I was able to create a beautiful Civic post to represent my home. So give it a try, guys. See what you can build out of recycled wood and materials, and build something special for your home. I heart fall. Be sure to like and subscribe Handy Mandy Canada to see all my videos.